doesn't take anything from the fact that you guys go on Myriad and interact.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Subscribe to my American politics. I specifically made it American politics. So I didn't want to confuse anyone who wasn't in America, but
that's cool.
So the Trump indictment. So do you guys know why Trump was indicted, or do you? I don't know if you know the.
I'd like you to explain to the audience.
Okay, so Trump was indicted specifically because here's the chain of events that happened. So everyone knows he slept with Stormy Daniels, right? The porn star. So Michael Cohen, his lawyer, paid Stormy Daniels to sign an NDA. He paid her a couple $100,000. I don't know exactly the amount. I should have brought that up, but yeah. So that's essentially what happened. She signed an NDA. He paid her that money. That was it, which is a pretty decent sum of money, I feel like, for like one day. But I don't know. That's just me. But anyway, so Trump was indicted because supposedly he paid Michael Cohen to back for that payment with campaign funds. That's the charge. That's essentially the basic charge. Now they've turned that into 34 counts because they've tried they turned it into 34 felonies with over 130 years of time if you convicted him of all the charges, and he had to serve all the sentences concurrently. But it's obviously trumped up charges, for lack of a better word. But because the FEC, I don't know if you're familiar with the FEC, the Federal Election Commission. It's actually a federal agency specifically tasked with policing elections and election issues, and they did an investigation and found that they could find no evidence of wrongdoing. But the New York State itself, just the state of New York, which by the way, New York State has the most criminal indictments of any district attorneys, who are the people who prosecute crimes of any state in the country by a long shot. So like they get charged federally for corruption. So just throw that piece of information out there. But they charged him because they said that they have proof that they got a grand jury. And I apologize, they don't have proof. They told the grand jury they had proof that he paid Michael Cohen out of his campaign funds for the payment to Stormy Daniels, which would have been an illegal use of campaign funds. But the two main issues, the reason that the FEC itself found no issue is because there's a letter from Michael Cohen specifically saying that he was never paid back for that by anyone, including Trump. And there's a letter from Stormy Daniels that she signed. Now she retracts that statement, but she did sign it, and it's her signature, she admits, that says that she never had intercourse with anyone and wasn't paid to be quiet about it from anyone. So there's those two pieces of evidence why the FEC never went forward, because it destroys her credibility as a witness because she signed a statement.
Did you post those on Myriad, by the way? You should.
I did, but it's been a while. I will repost them.
Okay.
There's a video here the short video that goes through it. I didn't want to play the video, obviously, because
I have a question about that though. Okay, the trumped up charges and everything. This is
trumped up charges. Nice.
Yeah, Josh coined it before. This is something that's pretty common, and this guy, I told Pandu in a private conversation that there is not a single politician in France that doesn't have like a huge folder of charges for this or for that. But
folder of women, huh?
What?
Folder of women. I'm sorry. No, it's an old political reference. No,
only Dominique Strauss-Kahn has a folder of women. Anyway, for those who know, they know. So anyway, what I wanted to say is like it's interesting that he ends up with 134 years and something for something that's if it's true, it's a problem and it's a real problem, but probably not 134 years or whatever in prison. Now, what I want to ask you is like, okay, there are letters that are signed, but as an evidence, isn't, let's say, a bank transfer and the usual follow the money thing more talking than just a signed letter? Because tomorrow I can sign a letter.
Let me answer this.
Says anything.
He's like, Cohen's his lawyer. It was legal fees. Like there's a bunch of legal fees paid to Cohen anyway. So like the $130,000, that's not from like the invoices clearly say legal fees. And what they're saying is that these add up to $130,000, and these are actually payment to pay back for the Stormy Daniels thing. But this guy is a lawyer. They have an ongoing business relationship where Trump pays Cohen.
Okay, but so it say that it's from campaign money, right?
It's not from campaign money, but like, yeah,
that's
actually something that baffles me also. Yeah.
What? Yeah, there is a little bit of a so campaign money in the United States is kind of a hard thing. Like I think in France, for instance, like you have to keep your money separate, right? Like if you're a politician and you raise money, you have to keep that separately. Yeah, that's not really a thing here. Like I ran for office and I just had all the money that I would donated in my bank account because it wasn't really that big of a deal. All I have to do is I tell them how much money I raised and I tell them how much money I spent on my campaign and they just take my word for it. That's how the system.
Go wrong.
No. Honestly, like
everyone is.
People don't lie. Gosh, just to check, was it okay to like I'm just asking because this time I don't know, but like is it not okay to pay your lawyer with campaign money if it's like
yeah, I mean you have legal representation for your campaign. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, I mean, and they definitely and they did exactly what you said. They found a bunch of payments that all added up to the same amount of money, and they said, "Well, look, this proves that he did it," even though it was just a bunch of random payments for other things that weren't, um, that didn't specific. There was no payment that said this is to pay you back for paying Stormy Daniels for that night of ecstasy in my apartment or something. Like no one, there's no, they just found a bunch of payments. They said, "Oh, these all add up to about that much money, and so that must be how you paid it back."
And that's how they indicted like a U.S. president, like a former U.S. president. But like this is the first time this ever happened, right?
Yeah, president. Yeah, the first time a president or former president has ever been indicted, and there's actually a famous saying from a New York Supreme Court a lawyer, or I mean not a lawyer, a judge, about grand juries in New York. There was a famous argument because there was it's actually an old court case, but um, I'm not going to bore you with the details of it. But the quote from the judge was, "In New York, you can indict a ham sandwich with a grand jury." That was his because I don't know if you know how grand juries work in the United States, but there's only the prosecution gets to talk to the grand jury. There's no defense team. The person doesn't get to represent themselves. Nothing.
What?
So yeah, well, a grand jury just decides whether or not charges are pressed against you. So the prosecution has to go talk to the grand jury. Then they present all the evidence against you, and then the grand jury goes back and if over half of them decide to indict you, then they bring charges, and then you get to go to court and represent yourself. So that's how he was indicted. Is the prosecution got, I think, 3 months to present evidence, and then
didn't he have any other options? Like he was in Florida, right? Like can he claim that it's not like his their jurisdiction? Can he at least have asked like what he is being charged with? Like because I remember like back then like he didn't know and he just went to New York and gave himself up, surrendered. Like he flew on a jet.
That was, I think that was just to prevent their so here's the two. I did import the two things.
Thank you.
So here's the letter from his lawyer,
his
from
lawyer's
Michael Cohen.
lawyer, right? His lawyer's lawyer, right? Like
yeah. Yes, he's representing, and he paid $137,000 to Miss Stephanie Clifford, who's Stormy Daniels. That's her real name. Neither the Trump organization nor the Trump campaign was party to the transaction, and neither reimbursed Mr. Cohen for the payment directly or indirectly. So that's an unretracted statement that's not been debunked in any way by the legal team there. And this was sent to the Federal Election Commission, and the Federal Election Commission didn't press any charges or go forward because of this. So it was good enough for the feds, essentially, but it wasn't good enough for New York State. And then here's the other letter from Stormy Daniels that she signed that says she's been asked countless times to counter an alleged sexual relationship with Donald Trump many years ago, and then she said she's completely denying this existence. and she's not denying it because she was paid any hush money. So she's saying she never slept with Trump and she was never paid any hush money. That was
I like
now
that,
she since retracted this, but
I like that she said like that. Check me out on Instagram. That's so
yeah.
random. What? This sort of random.
This whole thing gives me a headache. But this is you know what? Okay, this is really cool that you say that about campaign money and everything, because whatever side you're on, this is freaking complicated. You guys are not making it easy for yourselves. Yes. I mean, like what I hear about the grand jury, what I hear about the campaign funds, and I'm thinking, no wonder there are like very heated debates and a lot of a lot of passion on both sides, because wow, the system just begs for it. Whew.
Yeah, and just to give you an idea, just to give you a snapshot, so I ran for city office, and I'm actually running for city office again this year. So, the system I have to report my campaign contributions and expenditures is still ran on a mainframe. Just to give you an idea, and I'm required to connect to that mainframe and upload my details in a CSV format that's formatted specifically to that mainframe format. So that's how my county in Michigan, the largest county in Michigan, runs its campaign finance.
See, Pandu, Indonesia is not that bad.
Indonesia isn't that bad. Yeah, I know. I know. I hope they're IBM mainframes. No, sorry. I used to be an IBM salesperson, so it's like, yeah, it's automatic.
Like whenever I go to do those, I have to go to a website, and the website takes me to a remote connection through a web browser with a green screen where I have to input all the information.
Oh, green screen. Okay, so that's not a mainframe. That's those things are usually AS400s.
They call it mainframes. I don't know. They call it a mainframe. They call it the election mainframe.
It's a supercomputer. Like it's the old class of supercomputer. Like, yeah, it's not it's in the AS400 probably.
But I will add these to the American politics timeline if anybody wants to see them.
Yeah.
I have other timelines here too.
Follow Josh on Myriad Politics, and yeah, I mean, this here's the thing, Danny. Like, there's another bit of this that I don't think Josh mentioned. The statute of limitations, right? It's passed. It's like it's been years since it's passed, and I don't know about this. I just heard about it. How were they able to pull it off? Like, how were they able to prosecute with something that's already like past the statute?
So they said that there were aggravating factors which made it a felony, because it wouldn't be a felony because campaign finance in and of itself is not a felony. It's a misdemeanor charge. So then that's where you get the but what they said happened is it went across state lines, so it was a felony. So because he was they said he was physically in Florida whenever he made the payments, so that makes it across state lines.
Oh.
But so you're allowed to actually prosecute something that's past the statute if it goes across state lines? That's
well, I believe in every state's different, but I believe in New York State there's no statute of limitations on felonies, on felony charges.
Oh, God, the complexity of this.
Okay. All right. Well, he's gonna win this, right? Like, I mean, Trump's not gonna go to jail, right? Like, this is
no. I mean, that's why they didn't even put him in handcuffs, because they knew. I mean, he is the only person I've ever heard of that I could ever find in U.S. history that was charged with felony counts totaling more than 100 years that was never booked. He wasn't booked. He wasn't put in handcuffs. He didn't have his picture taken. They read him the charges, and then he said not guilty, and that was it. And that's never happened. And the reason they won't do that is because they knew that they would get excoriated. The DA already knows he's probably going to get fired and possibly prosecuted, but that's how far he is in his ideology, is he thinks he's so desperate to stop Trump.
This is election tampering. This is pure and simple election tampering. Like, he's not gonna see like 1 second of like he's not gonna, like, this is again trumped up chargers, like, and his day in court is where like December, right? Like after like the next one. I've heard that.
Honestly, I don't know when they set the next trial date, but I would assume his lawyers would probably file a motion to it, because there is motions you can file for swift justice if it's going to affect like your livelihood or something, which I'm assuming that they can make pretty good argument.
This is 2023. Like if it really is December, then like yeah, of course it's gonna affect like his livelihood, which is being the president of the United States again.
Well, the only good other thing was that he,
for it. Yeah.
On the good side, he did raise $40 million in 48 hours. After
I heard that. Yeah, I heard that. I heard that. Everyone's pissed off. Like that's probably why he went like on a jet from Florida to like I mean I don't know the guy, but I know the guy. Like, of course he did that for the 40 mil, but like
there was a lot of people who said that he was asking them to put handcuffs on him, like he wanted them to physically put the handcuffs on him.
Of course,
just so he had
that's good optics for him.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
So is this a case of him
Also, it's fine if Trump does it, but when Greta Thunberg does it, it's a problem. Huh? I see.
Yeah.
Wait, what did she
You
do?
love Greta, huh, Danny?
I don't have an opinion on Greta. I'm just being feisty.
How dare you?
How dare you?
Oh, I do
How
dare.
dare you? How do I look like Greta?
No, Pandu, no chance. No chance.
Oh. Okay. That for one is not bullying. Just wanted to just say that that's not bullying. That's mimicking. Okay. I mean, I'm an environmental engineer, technically. So
you're
Yeah.
you're Greta Light.
Well, I actually I have proof. I've seen her paper, and she designed an express system on something cement.
Yeah. Would you like me to share about that a bit? Like
Go ahead.
It's just like are we finished with the political segment? Like Josh, do you have anything else to share? Like I think you just
I had one history thing I imported. If you guys want to talk about that, I thought it was interesting because we covered the CCP earlier. So there was I found this old story. I just thought it was interesting. This is not related to current politics, but it relates to the CCP. We talked about that with Michigan earlier. But it shows how they eat their own. But there was it's actually a long story. There's it's a whole Twitter thread if you follow it over. And this is a guy who is from China and immigrated to the United States and likes to tell. I don't know if it's a guy or girl. I don't know. But but they immigrated and they like to give stories. So there's a story. There's a guy. He was very supportive during the revolution of the CCP. Gave them money, bought weapons for them, helped smuggle goods in, all of that sort of thing. And then one day, the CCP land reform campaign in 1949, which was right there. He was a landowner, and suddenly the CCP said landowners were all the enemies of the state. He sent his son to the best CCP run schools, and so long story short, at the end of it, his son paraded him through the streets with a rope attached to a wire through his nose, and then killed his father in public.
Have you read there's a book that you need to read, by the way, like if you're interested in this, like it's a sci-fi book, Body Problem.
Oh yeah.
That like the first few chapters was about the Cultural Revolution and how cruel it was. I'm surprised it actually got printed in China. Actually, like I was actually very surprised to read those chapters. But
yeah, because it depicts a very a really gruesome image of the Cultural Revolution. It's full of blood, sweat, and tears, and it's painful to read. And torture. It's it's painful to read. But it's a great book. The Three Body Problems, the whole trilogy from Xi Jinping.
His name, sorry.
No, Xi Yixin. I'm sorry for all Chinese friends here. I have my Mandarin is rotten to the core.
I have no Mandarin.
Xi Yixin.
I'm gonna switch to Asian code. Yeah.
But I thought that piece of history was a little bit apropos, I guess, just because it's sort of what everyone's fighting against now is not losing them. That could be us in a generation, for instance, is what a lot of people would argue.
It's a cultural revolution. What's happening in the U.S. too? Like it's a color revolution. Like it used to be like against the landowners, and now it's against the privileged, right? And now privilege just automatically means white privilege and cis privilege, and like, you know, just being normal gives you privilege. And now this is a revolution against you guys, white guys.
Well,
I do not
according to
adhere to that
Lena,
at all. I'm just here to say I do not adhere to that at all.
well,
Yeah,
according to Lena, Joe Biden is a person of color. Remember? Because he's
okay,
Irish.
okay, that's an inside
Which
joke no one's gonna know. But Lena's my AI. She is not tuned really well. My apologies, but like, yeah, she's not public actually, Josh, not yet.
oh, I'm sorry.
But like, no, I mean, I post about her on Twitter, but like, no one's gonna be
I
able
was
to
just pointing out
navigate
that
her.
if I'm part Irish, so I'm a person of color, so I'm not a white guy,
Oh, okay, all right, okay, okay, fair enough,
according
fair
to
enough.
Lena.
According to Lena, according to my really, like, probably insane AI, mistuned horribly AI.
I think there's a two-level problems here. It's like people like me, so on the left, and I consider myself an old school leftist, not a new wave
Sure.
leftist or whatever. Um, if you still can call me a leftist in the current in the current climate, but what make people like me tick is not the ownership and it's not the wealth. It's more about the bullshit implementation of the trickle down economy that clearly doesn't work. And there are, I mean, in my views and with the statistics I've seen, which I'm not going to share because like I would have to dig up stuff, but with the statistic I've seen and with, you know, what I see in my own country, there are actually, and historically, there are groups that have been oppressed like for centuries, and they are part of the people who are the most penalized in the current system. That's partly due to historical facts. That's partly due to the system refusing to change to accommodate some, let's say, to alleviate some roots of those problems. And I'm talking about infrastructure, I'm talking about education, I'm talking about housing, I'm talking about drugs, I'm talking about parallel economies. These are social problems that should be addressed. I do see that there is a chasm that's happening between the left and the right based on a culture war. Yes, that benefits to both people, like that panders on both sides, which is like because it's actually depicted as a war. So I don't think the left wants, let's say, minorities to replace the majority. I don't think that. I think this is the result of amplification, a lot of very vicious amplification. A lot of it is also due to this new trend of um, reverse bullying.
Reverse bullying.
Yeah, that's used
Is
from
there a
some
proper way to bully, and like, we're doing it the other way, or?
to me. The thing is, okay, I'm an X, and you disagree with me, and if I tell you that you disagree with me because only because I'm an X, whatever, right? Whatever group I am, right? This is reverse bullying because I know that Xism is not good in this current society, so I can use it as a weapon
That actually
against you.
sounds like the Cultural Revolution in China, Danny. Like it used to be that, like, I mean, we're oppressed. That's why that's why this revolution is against you, because you oppressed us.
It's everyone against everyone. I think it's every group in the end. In the end, it's every group against every group. How the way the media is politics is going.
In that case, like, this is not gonna get solved, because that's part of, like, tribalism is part of human nature. In fact, I'm hoping for an AGI to take over.
as a commentary, like as a commentator right now, I agree with you. I don't know whether it's gonna get solved. But to me, it's very visible. Like, for instance, in the LGBT community, right? Bisexuals are hated. A lot of LGBT people like hate bisexuals, and
Yeah,
it's a divide over a divide over a divide over a divide, and some people want to pander to a majority, be it on the left or be it on the right. And I'm not an enlightened centrist. I'm fucking tired of the hatred, right? Go see these people, what they want to do to you. And these people, it can be you, it can be me, it can be Josh, it can be whatever. As soon as they find a common denominator, is us against them.
so how do we make it us against them?
We talk together, like what we're doing now. This is
But
really
we
cool.
do.
This,
I do
that's what we
disagree a little bit
That's what
that there's not that there are some
Yeah.
people who aren't like truly hateful though. Like I'll give you an example. I just imported in the Myriad because this actually is in Detroit as well where I live. So this is
kill the white
this is
baby.
yeah.
Wow.
So this is a group called the Black Hebrew Israelites. They believe they are the true descendants
the lost tribe, the 12th tribe,
yeah
tribe that was
yeah
they made it to Java, okay. The
they
lost tribe. Like there's another group that like here that claims they're that anyway.
yeah. What they preach, and actually I've walked by them before, and if you walk by them and you're white, they'll yell at you to kiss their boots and they'll tell you they're going to kill you, and they'll try to incite you into
Yeah, the thing is, Josh, like right now in France, we have neo-Nazis organizing, trying to organize themselves to go and beat up like immigrants. In every group, you're gonna find this kind of hatred. That's the thing. It's not a race thing. It's not a gender thing. It's in every group. I do believe, and I'm pretty sure, I'm ready to bet my red thumb on it, that if you made a study on assholery, right, you'd find out that any given group has between 15 and 20% of asshole in them. And those assholes are the loudest, and those assholes are the most toxic. And because we tend to see individual members of a group as a representation of this group, they actually perpetuate a culture of intertribal hatred, and they put a focus on their own group. What these people say on your video, like this is hateful and this is wrong. This is not wrong because they're black. This is not wrong because they call themselves Israelite. This is just pure fucking wrong. And white people doing the same thing is just pure fucking wrong. And gay people doing the same thing is just pure fucking wrong.
Trans people doing the
And
same
trans
thing.
people doing the same thing. Hatred in general is pure fucking wrong. But as a society right now, hatred is our fuel. This is crazy. And I don't have a solution. I'm sorry. I'm just a person.
Yeah, I keep on thinking about this, Daniel. Like we built Myriad together and with Josh, and we've been aware of these problems, and these are not problems that we can solve, but like at least like the Myriad is something that we're trying to make Myriad into like a place where free speech can live, but also a place where you can have your own space, right? Like both sides of the aisle. Like it says you can have a safe space for friends, but you can see the public opinion because Myriad is not censorable. And it's decentralized, but like it's not decentralized in a way that leads to like if someone takes over all of our tokens, that doesn't mean Myriad becomes centralized. No, because there's still federation. Like that's we tried that. But still, I mean, to be honest, like there's still a lot of people who don't get the value. Like the thing about getting users to get into systems like ours is that they're not on social media to be free. They're on social media because they're addicted and they want to be controlled. I keep thinking that. I keep thinking that social media, social platforms, digital social platforms are the problem. That's why
we made our own.
we made our own. Yeah, that's why we made our own. But like that's also like okay. I met Josh through social media, through Facebook, so I can't say that it's all bad. I mean, social media. That's why we made something that hopefully, like is better. But like the current way is designed, like obviously, like the profit motive forces people like these social media companies to be evil, to have interactions by posting
Whoa,
stuff
whoa,
that are
whoa there, Pinko.
provocative. Sorry, what?
I was kidding. Oh, I just said, whoa there, Pinko.
Yeah. I mean, I mean,
We're
no,
all
no.
pink inside.
I'm not saying no. I mean, it's just it's
I get what you're
manipulation,
saying.
though. Like,
I was just kidding.
yeah, I know you're kidding, but like, I just FYI, it's nothing. It's not a leftist position to say that like big tech is controlling us through algorithms.
No, I mean,
They are.
Twitter released its algorithms. I mean, that was a
Okay,
positive
yeah,
thing
I'm not talking
this
about
past
Twitter.
week.
I like Twitter. I love Twitter. It's my favorite social media now. I basically moved everything to
Well,
Twitter
after Myriad,
after
of course.
Elon. Yeah. Yeah, it's my after Myriad, of course. After Myriad, of course. Sorry about that, guys. After Myriad, of course. But it's my favorite mainstream social media is Twitter. But like the problem with these games we play, like even with Twitter, with the algorithms released, it's not control over the algorithm. It's transparency about the algorithms, right? But like when you define timelines on Myriad, you define timelines on Myriad, not some algorithm. You're defining it. Like eventually we might incorporate algorithms, but even if we incorporate algorithms, it'll be something that is like controlled by the person who has the timelines. So it's a different position, and I think like what's sometimes um frustrates me really is that like so many users out there of social media just want to be controlled. Like even me, like even like I yearn for my dose of dopamine from Twitter. Of course, I have like what 10,000 followers on Twitter, like 20,000 followers on LinkedIn. Like I 20,000 now, by the way. Like I have like
Wow.
wow.
I'm
Yeah.
making the sound effect.
Dopamine. I feel that's
Yeah.
something I'm proud of. And
Insert
that's
casual
dumb.
humble brag here.
That's dumb. No, that's dumb. That's dumb. That's insanely bad. And that's the thing is we designed Myriad not to do that. We designed Myriad not to use algorithms to control you, to make you log on, to like tickle your dopamine levels. And that makes it harder for us. But like if we can make it, if we can basically make this into a like a platform with millions of users, that's a movement, because that's a movement against the way the current social media is created and against how current tech is created.
I think you have to get people to ask themselves if they want to be controlled and be honest with the question or with the answer to that question. Because a lot of people, I mean, I think anyone, I don't know if I know anyone who, if I asked them, do you want to be controlled, would say yes. But if you look at the
Depending on
actions
what
that they do. Okay.
Then on what's
okay, Danny, I forgot
you're
your
so
French.
Danny. You make this sound sexual.
No, like for instance, like if we're on a Counter-Strike team, like Josh, you'll be my Sarge, because like I'm not that good at Counter-Strike. I need to be told what to do.
You need to be told what to do. Every word out of your mouth.
somehow with that accent, it still sounds dirty.
It's the accent, man.
Tell me what you want me to do, Josh.
That's after the little girl play.
This is getting increasingly out of control. Let me get my purple wig.
He actually has a purple wig, Josh. Now you've done
I know,
it.
I've seen that. I've seen the video.
Oh, you've seen it. Okay. Bro, yeah, I mean, yeah, let's the thing, like, okay, sorry Josh, like I probably cut you off a lot here, but like this is supposed to be your segment and I'm supposed to be just the host.
No, you're fine.
Asking you questions sweetly. But like
I cut you off. Remember, that's how the dynamic works. So you can cut me off, and then we're even.
Oh, we're even. Yeah, all right. Me and my pink mic, thanks you. Yeah, I mean, cultural revolution, and politics, like a lot of things to discuss. I think I wanted to share a few things as well, but like it's actually not related to politics. It's like more, what was I gonna share, Danny? Like the thing you mentioned. What was I gonna share? You were talking to me about something, and you were priming me to say something right before we talked about that last post of Josh's. I forgot. I totally forgot. I wish we had Alex here. He takes notes, right?
He takes notes.
He takes notes. I don't.
You need to upload,
yeah,
Alex.
but yeah, sort of like I mean I'm just gonna talk about something else. I think one of the key problems of the world right now. I come from the infrastructure space, right? Like I'm an infrastructure girl. The problem with what's happening now is infrastructure, right? Companies are hosted by clouds. Clouds are just someone else's computer, probably massive computers, but not a lot of people self-host. Not a lot of people actually put like their like no one self-hosts anymore. Like there's only one company that I know of that self-hosts. It's Gab and Myriad very soon as well. Like multiple self-hosting. It's not yet self-hosted, obviously. Like if you're a hacker, you know, like if you'd see like the network connections that Myriad makes. It's not quite self-sovereign, but like at least we allow people to self-host after this. Like we already allow technically people to self-host. But anyway, point is, this is just talking about social media. What about AI? What about like the AGI? You know what Sam Altman said, like in the Lex Friedman podcast like this week. I don't know if you guys listen to that, but AI is gonna be a $100 trillion industry. That's what he said. $100 trillion, taking over the entire world economy. We're already seeing signs of that. We're already seeing signs of that. And this is of course
astronomical.
Of course he's biased. Of course he's biased. He's CEO of OpenAI, right? Like he's gonna say that. Sure, that's why he's here. That's why he's there. That's why he started the company. But like, one is like even if it's like just $1 trillion, so like even like $100 billion, that's still huge. Like if it's just like 0.1% of the entire thing that he claimed, the thing is that much power shouldn't be centralized, and again, I think it's an infrastructure problem. I've tried to like run my own models, like AI models, right? Like just like I've tried to run our own social media, Danny, right? Like social media is a simpler problem than machine learning and language models, training machine learning, training LLMs, running LLMs even, and you know what? Like at every generation we actually had faster computers, but like these faster computers are being like held mostly in data centers now instead of like with the people. I think we're forgetting like I mean Josh didn't forget. Josh has a server, but like we're forgetting like we need to self-host stuff. We need to go back into self-hosting and making sure that, you know what, yes, I have a server at home, and I'm not using Google Photos. I'm not using like Amazon Alexa. I built my own. I think that would like paradoxically reduce tribalism. Like I say paradoxically because it's actually, you know, like it's
yeah.
I mean it's decentralized. It's more decentralized, but it's not balkanizing because like, you know what, our tribalism is actually like there's some bits of that that's biological, that is like a cultural and biological. It's something that like we always create tribes, but there's also a bit of that, a big part of that actually, not a bit of that, that is because of algorithms controlling our lives.
I subscribe 100%, and I add
To my newsletter,
to your newsletter,
which I will release very soon. No, I'm kidding.
to your self-hosted newsletter. But
no, I'm gonna tell Lena to just write newsletters every day and just post them automatically.
Good.
So he'll talk about Biden's race. Okay, anyway.
Yeah, I subscribe to that, and I think I'm gonna go further and say that I think that most of our society problems are infrastructure problems. I got into blockchain because I see that there is a definite possibility and there are definite use cases to not only decentralize but also to distribute. To decentralize, distribute, delegate, share, barter, small communities. I mean, like, okay, you don't have internet like Josh was talking about. I'm not gonna dox any city or something, like about that city that paid like $400,000 to bring internet in parks and pay for with taxpayer money for what do you call that, light speed, no, fiber, okay, to pay for fiber and everything. And like my first reflex was like a mesh network, you know.
Right. Mesh nets.
A mesh network, and if you want to incentivize, then you tokenize, and that's done. We have the technology, we have the
Yeah.
means, and we have the means to do that on for a lot more things. And
But then who pays the mayor's friend who's the IT contractor?
yeah, that's fucking yeah.
You do, Josh. No, no.
Don't hit me with dilemmas
You
like
don't.
that when
You're
I'm being
actually running
philosophical.
for
Come on.
office. I'm not gonna joke about that. No. Oh shit.
But that's the thing, and that's a very good question, because they're the mayor and his friends or whatever. But then, who gets the whole of the profit if the profit is distributed? And this is why people tag me as a commie, right? Because I want the profit and the effort to be distributed, not centralized. And it seems like a good idea. You all make the cake, you all eat the cake, and it's a good cake.
There's something in the podcast, Sam Altman's podcast, where he speaks about UBI, and that like the OpenAI actually has researched a lot about UBI, and like basically they're planning with the assumption that they're getting $100 trillion and distributing it to humans, which is insane to think about. But like um not a good idea still, because it's still centralized. Like if they become the next like if the next Skynet is actually a company, it's not even though it's a benevolent company, it's still a Skynet.
Well, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, right, Danny? With when we're talking about how we can help Africa, and just giving them things doesn't really work. Like just human
Yeah,
nature.
yeah.
Even if you do it with AI, you still have humans in the end that you're giving the money to.
Yeah.
So every experiment, there's been experiments in Canada and the U.S. with UBI, and it always ends in failure, because what happens is everyone just spends up to the point where they spent all the UBI, and then they're back to the same issues they had before. Like prices increase
Mm.
and then it's etc. I believe in the US they did it in some small town in Oregon, because Oregon's pretty left. It's like a rural leftist state. It's kind of the anomaly. But there was a city there where I think they gave everyone $1,000 a month, and everyone just kind of increased their spending limit $1,000 a month, and still had the same issues at the end of paying their bills and everything else, because they just assumed they pre-spent that $1,000, and then still had the same issues paying their regular bills after that.
So it's a matter of, okay. I've read other articles with successful experiments in UBI, and it might be a cultural thing, and it may be a local, regional thing. I won't pronounce myself on that, because it's a topic that might, that involves more knowledge in economics and sociology than I actually have. But I do believe one thing, and this we talked about it with the trolley dilemma, which is
Yeah.
yeah, do you kill one person or do you kill five people? You have a choice. What do you do? And the whatever we ask an AI, whatever we ask technology, in order to reactively solve our dilemmas, is going to be wrong. We need to ask technology how to prevent the dilemmas from happening. And to my mind,
Okay.
decentralization as an infrastructure, after what you do with the infrastructure is different, right? But as an infrastructure, it's a tool from preventing dilemmas from happening.
Yeah,
You know what?
and I mean, I think decentralization is good. I mean, I'm probably one of the more conservative people that I know, but I still have solar panels on my house and battery backup. It's not because
Right.
I think of that's decentralization. At least that in my mind, that's if everybody has solar panels on their house or a windmill in their backyard, then power generation wouldn't be an issue. And you're right.
I actually never got why people think that conservatives cannot have solar panels. Honestly, like I mean,
People think that.
Oh
they
yeah,
do.
I
They
had a
do.
fundraiser in my backyard where I grilled out. I made hamburgers and hot dogs, and people saw solar panels and immediately thought I was a far leftist. I mean, that was an immediate reaction to the.
Yeah, I mean, it's so tribal, Danny. Like over there, yeah. It's nuts. It's crazy. It's tribalism. Like your tribe's colors. You're wearing your tribe's colors.
I want to be 5 years old again. Innocent.
You can just be my AI, Danny.
Dumb.
Okay.
Okay, that sounds dirty because, like, what Monty says about you, like, no, Pandu, I will
Monty's
not be
not
your
public.
AI.
Yeah, okay. Monty's my AI husband that I created from scratch, and he's like very 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that sounds like Danny. Danny would be perfect then.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
No. You. No, you.
And by the way, that would be 64 or 32 shades of gray if you want to find like between these two values. Like let's keep it 64 shades of gray.
Or 128.
Or 128. Like, let's take multiples up to
124. Yeah. Money's bigger than that. That sounds dirty.
You know what bit means in French, right? I'm left as an exercise to the reader.
Okay.
Bit. Like BIT?
Yeah, BIT, but you pronounce it bit, right?
Bit.
Yeah.
Hey, just tell us, man. Come on.
Cock. It means cock.
And on that note,
solar panels.
Zoot.
Thank you, everyone, for joining the Myriad of Chains. We've actually hit the 2-hour mark for the first time in history. We're probably going to split this up into 2 episodes. Danny, you actually opened this, but I'm closing it if you don't mind. We've been with Jean-Daniel Gauthier. We've been with Josh Powell. And as your host, I'm Decentricity, Pandusasardio. Follow us on our socials and our social. Go to Myriad.Social to install our app, or go to app.myriad.social to go directly to the web app. And follow our socials on like mostly Twitter now, like very active there, Myriad_social. Thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of the week. Enjoy the rest of your day, and don't be a commie. I'm sorry, I just had to add that. But thank you, everybody.
All
right. Okay. Yeah. All hail. See ya. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.